Hi everybody! Welcome to the Fire Up Your Metabolism Challenge, the secrets to eliminating body fat. I'm super stoked that you all are here today. So I'm going to wait a couple minutes to see if anybody jumps on. If not, I'll just start. I know a lot of people are going to be able to watch this on the replay. So let me just give a couple minutes, maybe a couple seconds. Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Okay, so it's that time of year again. It's the new year. Everybody has a weight loss goal generally. The gyms are overloaded and overcrowded, if they're even open at this time. And everybody's fresh with that desire to lose the weight and have the physique they always want. The problem is, sometime between January 1st and the end of January, the gyms go back to normal capacity. So what happens in between those two times that we get the same results every year? And that is human psychology. So I'd be willing to bet that 99% of the people that are participating in this challenge are not new to the lose weight world. Meaning this is not your first attempt to lose that 20, 30, or even 100 pounds. Probably not the first time you've lost that same 20 pounds. Regardless of how you decided to lose it, whatever fad diet you were trying, all of your efforts would fall under the eat less, exercise more philosophy. Sorry about that. Phone call. So, eat less, exercise more philosophy. Because that's what we have been indoctrinated, that's what you do when you want to lose weight. But is that what we're really after? I mean, it's really effective for short-term weight loss. It is very effective. But is that what we're really after? Or are you after long-term weight loss, long-term success, long-term health and vitality and just feeling great about ourselves? So I'd be willing to say that everybody's in this for the long term. I don't deny that as a society, we don't want that very quickly because we are all about instant gratification. That's just what technology has done for us, I guess. But what if I told you that the eat less, exercise more philosophy had a 94.5% statistical failure rate for long-term fat loss? Would you still be willing to forego your favorite foods or eliminate entire food groups from your diet, exercise more than is usual for you? Would you still be willing to do that? And if so, for how long? A couple weeks? A couple months? And then you're back to your old ways of eating, which inevitably results to gaining the weight back. So it's a vicious cycle of dieting that doesn't allow your body to do what it's naturally designed to do, which is to burn fat. So the reason why the exercise more, eat less philosophy doesn't work is because it sets a person up for long-term fat gain because of the law of thermodynamics. Okay, so the law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change forms. So what that means is that when there's a shortage of calories, which is what happens when you eat less and exercise more, that your body has to do something, but it doesn't have to lose weight. So basically, one of the biggest weight loss myths I hear is that if less calories in, more calories exerted, I will naturally lose weight. And your body will slow down, okay? In very elementary terms, I guess, that is how our body works. But what part of your body are you eliminating when you do that? You will eliminate something, but what part of your body are you eliminating? Is it the fat? Highly doubtful. So, in fact, your base metabolic rate or your resting metabolic rate, so how many calories are you burning when you're sitting on your butt doing absolutely nothing? When you have a shortage of calories, your base metabolic rate will drop upwards of 40%. So literally your metabolism slows down that much. Now, after your body slows down to account for the calorie deficit, it's going to slow down even further by getting rid of tissue that is metabolically active, meaning tissue that burns a lot of calories. So generally, the tissue you're getting rid of is muscle. 70%, let's just say that 70% of the non-water weight you lose when you're consuming less calories is going to come from metabolically active, hormonally balanced, disease-fighting muscle. That is literally the definition of failure, because the strongest indicator of health and robustness as we age is literally our ability to maintain lean muscle mass. It's what prevents us from having aches and pains or falls as we age. It protects our joints and our muscles. Increasing your muscle mass is the number one indicator of whether or not you will have long-term weight loss success, because muscle is a very metabolically active tissue. It burns a lot of calories. I apologize about my dog. Let me go close my door. So I apologize about that. This is the beauty of doing things live. So, oh Jesus, hold on. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so that is why I'm not a fan of the keto diet or the paleo diet, or any other fad ways of diet. They serve a purpose. They have their theories as to why they're healthy. The reason I don't like them is they literally have diet in the name, which signals to your brain this is a short-term thing. So it's temporary. Temporary plans get temporary results. So like for example, in the keto diet, eliminating the overabundance of carbs and sugars in your diet, extremely healthy. That's great for you. But doubling or tripling your fat intake, and not even necessarily the good fat, just any old fat will do, is extremely unhealthy. So it's just not how the body works. Unfortunately. The paleo diet, another example. So this diet requires you to eat only foods that were available to us in our prehistoric ancestors, okay? Not all bad, but what it eliminates is all the seeds, grains, nuts, which are extremely healthy. So again, I ask you, how long are you going to be able to maintain this lifestyle? Because that's the predictor of whether or not you're going to have success. How long are you going to be able to maintain it? For 6 months to a year? If you're starting something and you look at something and say, I can't do this for 6 months, why are you even going to begin it? Because it's literally going to have the same results as in the past. Temporary weight loss that leads to future disappointment and frustration. Realistically. So I'm not trying to be mean or rude or come off bluntly at all. My goal in this challenge is to help you understand the process of weight loss and fat. So this time next year, you may have a health and fitness goal, and I hope you do. I just hope it's not the same health and fitness goal that you have this year. My goal is not to tell you just eat this or eat that. My goal is for you to understand why I'm asking you to eat this or eliminate that. I want everybody to know how to naturally fire up your metabolism, so which obviously is going to burn fat. I want people to recognize what they're eating or doing necessarily that is slowing their metabolism down. Because I assure you, the weight loss journey doesn't have to be long, difficult, and arduous. It can be very simple. I believe that when people know better, they do better. Plain and simple. I also don't want to just tell you eat this or eat that, because I want you to feel like you have some control over your nutrition. If I tell you eat oatmeal for breakfast and turkey for lunch and salmon for dinner, let's just say you even like those options, I can promise you, you will get tired of those foods. You will obsess over the things that I'm telling you not to do. So when you combine those two factors, it leads to you reverting back to your old eating patterns, which reverts to gaining the weight back. Compound those two factors. So the reason why I'm providing you with the education is because right now in America, this is so sad. We have an epidemic that is far more deadly than the COVID pandemic that we're currently experiencing. America is the #1 sickest nation, all self-imposed. Here in America, we have an epidemic of obesity, an epidemic that no one is talking about. An epidemic that drastically affects a person's immune system. An epidemic that skyrockets the likelihood of being diagnosed with the #1 killer in America, which is heart disease. We have an epidemic for obesity for decades now, and no one is talking about a long-term solution to this. They're all just short-term solutions. So in October, they released the findings that 94% of the people that have died of supposedly COVID had 2.5 comorbidities, meaning pre-existing diseases. So the top 3 comorbidities was heart disease, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. So 94% of the people that supposedly died of COVID had 2.5 pre-existing diseases that in all likelihood, let's be real, if not gotten in check, would have killed them. So this is not to say that COVID-19 is not deadly. Don't confuse what I'm saying. Because obviously it has killed millions of people. Let me word it this way. I'll put it how my mentor told me. Sean Stevenson, who's a world-renowned nutrition and fitness expert, he said, in truth, our chronic diseases loaded the gun and COVID pulled the trigger. So right now, over 200 million people in America are overweight or obese. So 1/3 of America, which is 50% higher than just 30 years ago. Only 12% of Americans are metabolically healthy in the U.S. There are over 130 million people that have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. Over 60% of the U.S. population has some form of heart disease right now. And over 70% of the population is on prescription medications to treat one of those ailments. Part of the problem, and this is going to be a little rant on my part probably, but part of the problem is our supposed healthcare system, which I really like to call our sick care system. When a person is diagnosed with one of these pre-existing diseases, which by the way is your body's way of telling you that there's a problem with your patterns of behavior. There's something you're doing that is your body's way of talking to you. So, but in our healthcare system, when we experience one of these ailments, we go to the doctor. And how frequently when you go to the doctor does the doctor tell you to just prescribe a healthy diet and exercise? He might recommend that you clean up your diet and nutrition, but chances are he's going to prescribe you a medication filled with milligrams of a medicine to combat the pounds of food you eat every day. On average, a person eats 3 pounds of food a day. So please explain to me how milligrams of a medicine is supposed to combat the pounds of food that we eat every day. So we take a pill to treat the symptoms of a problem rather than addressing the root cause of the actual problem. Again, I'm not knocking our healthcare system. We have amazingly brilliant doctors, and I'm so grateful that they're there. But these doctors are practicing what they've been taught in school. Over a decade of schooling at that. But if you teach a person a system that is somewhat flawed, they're going to become really great at replicating the same flawed system. So where am I going with this? Doctors have their place. I am not a doctor, and I'm not saying to listen to my advice over your doctor. Okay, just let me be clear about that. but they are giving extraordinary little education on nutrition. For example, a gastroenterologist. So this is a doctor whose sole job is to study the organs of the body that digest food. Can anybody guess how much education they get on nutrition? So we're talking about a doctor that literally his sole job is the organs of the body that break down and eliminate our food. Can anybody guess how much education they get on nutrition? Out of the 10 to 12 years they're in school, 2 weeks. They get an average of 2 weeks out of the 10 to 12 years of schooling they get. Does that even remotely sound logical to you? Their specialty is about the organs that digest food, yet they're given little information about how the very foods we're eating are affecting those organs. It's just mind-blowing to me, just utterly mind-blowing. So that's not to say that a physician can't take additional courses. They can. But again, let's think about this logically. So you have a medical student who is taking a full course load. So he's overloaded, thousands of dollars in debt, probably sleep deprived because of the way they structure medical school. Are they going to take an extra class that is not required to graduate? Logically, highly undoubtful. Highly doubtful. So we have a great healthcare system for emergency care, but as far as treatment, I see you, Casey. Are you talking about my dogs? But as far as treatment of our biggest killers, it sucks. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's, obesity, they continue to get worse because we continue to treat the symptoms with pharmacology and we're not addressing the root causes. So in 2018, so almost 3 years ago, the Journal of American Medical Association published a meta-analysis, which means a big report, that the number one cause of our chronic disease is poor diet. This is one of the most prestigious medical journals in history, and almost 3 years ago, they said our diet was the number one cause of our chronic disease. So when we have these opportunistic viruses, such as COVID, why are we all talking about a pharmacology product instead of the root cause of the problem? When I say opportunistic, that means a microorganism that is usually harmless but can become pathogenic when the host's immune system is impaired. And what is the number one thing that impairs our immune system? Our diet. So when I decided to create this challenge, I sat down and jotted down what are the 5 to 10 things that I cover when I'm coaching a client. And I came up with 6 major areas that I'm going to cover in this challenge anyways. So that's why it's a 7-day challenge. Now today is really just a day of awareness, a day of reflection on exactly why those methods failed that you did in the past. Each day you will have growth work, not to be confused with homework, as homework has a negative connotation, but you will have growth work that you'll need to post in the Facebook group every day. Each piece of growth work is going to take you one step closer to naturally firing up your metabolism. So today, I really just want you to understand the correlation between the foods we eat and our health. The food we eat is literally more important than exercise. Now, don't confuse what I'm saying before you jump the gun. As a personal trainer, exercise is extremely important, and that's why it is included in this challenge on day number 6. But I'm sure some of you are wondering why it's not included until day number 6. And the reason for that is because it really doesn't matter what you're doing in the gym, guys. If you're not putting the right foods in your system, you can work out for 6 hours a day every single day. You may see some weight loss, some change in your definition, but you will not see the increase in muscle mass. So let me be clear. You cannot out-exercise a poor diet. Let me repeat that. You cannot out-exercise a poor diet. It just doesn't work that way. which I've had clients in the past, oh, I work out so that I can eat this. No, that's kind of defeating the point. So today I want you to do two things. First, I want you to make a list of all the attempts to lose weight in just, let's say, the past 5 years. What method did you use? How much weight did you lose? How long did you sustain that new way of eating? And how much of that weight did you gain back? Now, the reason for asking you to do this is not so that you can make a list and see all your failed attempts and feel bad about yourself, but actually the opposite, so that you can visually see that probably most, if not all, of those attempts were part of that eat less, exercise more mentality, which, as I stated, has a 94.5% failure rate. Why would you do it? But also I want you to see that just because your attempts to lose weight in the past were unsuccessful, that doesn't mean that if you put in a new system that has a doability rate. Now that's my word, feel free to use it if you want. Doability means, is it sustainable over the long haul? So realize that when you look at this list of all your supposed failed attempts, that you did lose the weight. I mean, chances are when you initiated any new eating program or exercise, you probably lost some weight. You just probably didn't keep it off because it didn't have a long-term doability rate. So just recognize that all of those solutions were temporary solutions to a long-term problem, which temporary solutions get temporary results. Also jot down, if you can remember, when you were on those diets, how did you feel when you were on it? Did you feel better? Because realistically, if we don't feel good, we're not going to keep up with it. The second thing I want you to do is I'm going to download a measurement log in the Facebook group when we get done with his. The reason for that is because most people, when they're dieting, they weigh themselves. And I'm not saying that is not a measurement of fat loss. It is. But the reason why I'm giving you the measurement log is because your weight loss and your health is about every area of your body. And the number on the scale is just a small area. So this literally measures I created it when I was competing in a bodybuilding competition. So it measures every aspect of your body. I would not recommend that you weigh yourself every day. In fact, take your scale and put it in a drawer, put it in a closet. Weigh yourself only when you do your measurements. I recommend you do your measurements every 21 days. That's generally when you will see success. You need to keep up with something at least for 21 days to see some success from it. Other reason why you don't want to weigh yourself every day is because every day at any given point, you're carrying 5 to 15 pounds of water weight. So when you're weighing yourself, again, that's just a very small facet of the weight loss formula. Also, think about, would you measure your bicep every day? I mean, that doesn't sound realistic. The other reason why I say put it away is because how many of you have looked forward to getting on the scale because you feel like you've had a successful week, successful month, only to be disappointed? That happens. Having a business for a boot camp and everything, that happens more times than not. Now, the reason for that is because muscle weighs more than fat. It lays differently on your body, but it weighs more. So as you exercise and you increase muscle mass, the number on the scale will increase, but it will directly result in less inches on your body. I promise you that. Most of you on there, so at the very bottom of the measurement log, there is a place for your body fat. Most of you will not have access to a body fat tester. There are some scales out there that will measure it. Just realize that they're not very accurate. So again, don't fixate on the number. The goal, the idea is, how do you look in your clothes? How do you feel in your clothes? That's your number one indicator. If you are really, really wanting to know what your body fat is, if you belong to a gym that has personal training services provided, they will most definitely have a body fat tester, I promise you. Just ask them to test you. They might try to sell you on some personal training, I won't deny that, but just ask them to test you. Otherwise, if you don't have access to a gym, you can direct message me, and if you're local, we can meet up and I can bring my body fat tester to test you. But again, that's just one component of this whole get health and fitness goal. So there will be prizes in this challenge. So the first place winner is going to receive 1 month of one-on-one coaching from me. So that evaluates your entire life, your nutrition, your fitness, and the other aspects that we're going to cover in this challenge. So that's valued at $1,500. The second place winner is going to receive 2 weeks of one-on-one coaching, which is valued at $750. And then the third place winner is going to receive a 1 month red pen food journal audit, which is just a name that I gave it because it's generally filled with red ink, which is valued at $500. So you can earn points throughout the first 6 days of this challenge. You earn points every time you engage in the challenge. So as I told you in the welcome video, when you invite a friend, when you refer a friend, they use your name in those questions, you get points. When you comment in the Facebook Live, you earn points. And then when you post your growth work every day, you earn points. So basically every time you engage in the challenge, you earn points. It doesn't matter if you're watching this challenge live or replay. Post your growth work. You will get extra points, obviously, if you're commenting in the live. And the reason for that is because I value your participation and your feedback, to be honest. This is the first time I'm putting on this challenge, so the reason why it's free is that I really want your all's feedback as far as what is resonating, what are your major takeaways. Now, having said that, I know that everybody is not watching it live. Some will watch the replay. If you want to earn the points towards the prizes, you must complete the challenge by Saturday p.m. midnight Eastern Standard Time. The Facebook group will be kept open for probably like 3 days, maybe 5 days at the most when the challenge ends, which is on Sunday, January 10th. That is the day that the winners will be announced. So today, though, is, again, triple bonus day. Doesn't matter that the day's already began. You can earn extra bonus by bringing a friend in, and they can watch the replay of day number 1, and then hopefully they can jump on live for the rest of the challenge. If you have a spouse that you're trying to get healthy with, or an accountability partner, it will definitely help. It just helps to have support, and if everybody's on the same page, it's just going to be helpful. So I didn't really reveal any fat loss secrets today, but rather I really just wanted this to be like a day of awareness, a day to show you that most of your weight loss attempts fall under that eat less, exercise more mentality. It's a very elementary way of looking at the most complex system in history, which is the human body. And decades of research shows that it's just unsuccessful. So post your growth work. So your growth work today is either to post a picture of all the diets that you've tried in the past and how much weight you lost and so forth, or you can post a picture of your measurement log, which I will download as soon as we get done with this live. Whichever one you feel more comfortable with is fine. If you have any questions, I would recommend that you post them in the Facebook group and not direct message me. I'm not saying I don't want to hear from you. I do. But the reason for that is while the challenge is open, if it's a question for you, then chances are highly likely that it will be a question for somebody else too. So if it benefits you, it'll benefit somebody else. So ask the questions in the Facebook group. I know I haven't revealed any secrets yet, but I want to take this opportunity to say, please do the work. Make the list. Look at all the attempts that you've tried in the past. You've put in the work in those attempts and lost the weight. Why can't you do it with a new system that has a lifetime durability plan? And then take your measurements. Take photos if you want to. When I I'm dating myself here, but when I created this log, we didn't have we didn't have cameras on our phones, so it wasn't an easy thing to do. So that's how long ago I created this log. It's so sad that I'm dating myself like that. But more importantly, I want you just to commit 30 minutes. Today's one of the longer days. To be honest, most of the other days are only 15 minutes. Obviously, if you have any questions, I will answer them. So throw them in the Facebook group or throw them in the comments below, and I will answer them at the end of each day. Otherwise, this is it. Anybody have any questions? Oh wait, there's like a 30-second delay for Facebook to give you comments. And by the way, I appreciate you sticking in there with me during the chaos of my dogs. They don't really cooperate. And if I lock them out, then they scratch on the door so loud because they have like separation anxiety that you would be able to hear them. So I apologize. That might happen some other days too, not promising anything. Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody has any questions. So that's it. Post your growth work, invite a friend to the challenge, and I will see you tomorrow at 12 Eastern Standard Time. Bye.